So you are at the plantation, and it's like an empty house amidst dry lands. There's these dried up canals that cut the land into checkerboard fields. And next to the empty house, there's Johnny Seven. We have the outside shot of this gigantic. It's described as a motile tower. It has changed in the last 2 days. I mean, you have been traveling to the halls of the Umber King to get the punch cards. And every time Johnny Seven stops, there's this wild growth. Even if he moves, he leaves behind the trail of wild growth. And because the Umberlands have like a fungal theme, and this time it's these big mushrooms that grow from under the factory. And then we move inside the Johnny Seven, and you are at the moment in the production floor, and there's a row of these like interestingly shaped, I don't know, wooden designer chairs. And we see our four heroes, and maybe we can remind people who they are. So let's start in the character keeper from left to right. Saffron. What do we see when Saffron is in the production floor? How do they look like, and what do they do?
I think Saffron. So Saffron is this machine human, and they wear these kind of bland gray brown robes, and they have their hood pulled back so you can see kind of the outlines of where their silicone skin is kind of put together. They have their arms of the robes like pulled up, rolled up, because they're kind of at work here. And I think right now Saffron is just kind of helping pull these chairs that came out of the production system down. And like last time we'd said that they kind of came out covered in this film, like it kind of like Johnny Seven birthed them or something. Yeah, and definitely. I think Saffron is like helping pull them out and then like peel the film off and like take like a damp rag or something and wipe them down.
And where Johnny Seven births the chairs, it's also like a meaty flap that covers the tunnel where they emerge from. And also there is Brother Methuselah. Josh, can you describe him?
So Brother Methuselah is not inside of Johnny Seven, but once again, he is sort of riding on a outcropping of Johnny Seven, sitting on it as it, like trundles along the landscape. He has like a small journal, and he is scribbling in it, but it is not words. It is just numbers in some pattern that only he understands and knows what it means. There are some equations, but they are like sparse, and they don't really make sense where they are to someone who would be looking at it. And he is just observing the landscape, and his hands are just scribbling as he stares out.
I mean, he's not watched at the moment by anyone. How would, if this is like a TV series, how would the people know that he is actually a ghost, an ultra?
I think that he has a slight blurriness to him. in the camera. There's like a shift in the camera, and then you can see that the outline of like the human body of this monk scribbling in the notebook is not as solid as you would expect it to be if there were like a person sitting there. Because Brother Methuselah is actually an ancient ultra inhabiting the body of this monk. Although Brother Methuselah himself, the ultra, is in fact the monk. And this is merely like a skin suit that he is using to do his monkly duties.
A meat vessel.
Yeah.
So just as a clarification, Johnny 7 at the moment is not moving. He has been parked next to the plantation for a couple of days now, and these big mushrooms started to grow from underneath. So Brother Methuselah sits on the outcrop in the shade of these big mushrooms. Cool. And then we have Nida. Where would Nida be?
Probably inside Johnny 7, looking at these chairs, trying to document them for the travelogue. This is interesting. This is different. This is new. I mean, normally such things are made by craft people, a manufacturing, creating things like this, just spitting them out. That's unusual. That's the sort of thing I think I could get paid for with that travelogue.
Mm-hmm. And how does Nida look like?
Inside Johnny 7, she doesn't have the hood of her cloak up. So you can actually, for once, see her hair. She's got longish black hair, not too long. It's probably more of a bob, but it's not like a really close cropped cut or anything like that. And you can actually see her eyes. They're brown. And her skin looks like she has been outside a lot. It's weathered. You know, you can see that she's covered up, but she's still gotten a lot of sun over the years. And she's just crouched down next to these chairs, sketching. You know, her cloak's kind of trailing out behind her. She's had to shift the position of her sniper rifle so that it doesn't like bang against the floor every time she tries to hunker down and sketch one of the chair legs. So yeah, that's what she's doing right now.
Awesome. And then last but not least, we have Azure D, which, by the way, I went to the dentist on Thursday, and my dentist had the same like transparent face shield. And
Nice.
I told her that it looks really futuristic, and I was impressed.
What did she say?
She thanked me, and then she pulled 2 teeth out of my mouth. I don't know. It was not related.
Aw, that's sweet. Yeah, I guess Azure is, aiding and assisting as well, pretty much like, anxiously awaiting the arrival of the hand microwaves because, it's going to help. I think it'll definitely help things, during travel, so we don't have to worry about, setting up fires and things like that if we don't want to. Just assisting Saffron, wiping down the chairs, helping him take them out, checking in on Johnny to make sure that he's okay and he's not like getting overheated or anything like that. Is he humming along, or is he wheezing a little bit or anything?
No, at the moment you get the he is humming, and the whole production floor is like the whole Johnny 7, even Brother Methuselah from the outside can feel it. There's like this vibration, and you get the distinct feeling. It is pure joy. It is like excitement.
Yeah, awesome.
And can you describe how, like, I gave away that you have this translucent face shield, and what else do we see? How does she look like?
Hold on a second, sorry. Well, Azure's like kind of got this very mid-century modern, retro futuristic look. She wears this big. She has a big plastic face mask that's kind of teardrop shaped that covers her entire face. She wears black and blue. Her armor looks sort of like vinyl. And she wears like a blue mini skirt and has this kind of scarf around her neck that has like a circular kind of handle at the end of it. And her resting pose is, she's always holding that part of the scarf. And she's tall and very Twiggy-esque.
Definitely. All right. So, what do you do? What do you say to each other? What are your plans?
This is amazing. I used to watch people carve such things by hand, but it would take days just to make something simple. This is extraordinary.
Johnny's a very special creature. Absolutely. This is definitely from the good times, the golden olden days, as I like to call them. But that's why it means so much to me to get to help Johnny, realize his robot dreams.
I guess now that we've found the cards and helped Johnny do this, the question is, what's next? But that's probably a question for Johnny.
Yeah, I was going to say we should respect his wishes.
Well, Saffron, haven't you had the best relationship with Johnny of all of us?
And Azure got him to sing along to some old tunes. But let's just, we can just ask.
Saffron is closest. I think that Johnny and I have a certain connection just from the old world sort of perspective, but Saffron has really been doing like the deep dives with Johnny and talking to it, and I've kind of just been more consoling, kind of caretaking, like kind of like a nursing home nurse.
I think honestly, at this point, Saffron probably maybe we're just like having this like quiet side conversation, and I think at this point, Saffron would just be like, "Hey, Johnny, I think we should talk."
Why don't you visit me?
All right.
Indicating the mainframe room.
Yeah, the mainframe room. Okay. Sure. And I think anyone else, like, this isn't going to be like Saffron, like, necessarily jacking into anything. I think it's just like, that's the most like face-to-face area. So if other people wanted to be present.
Yeah, Azure will come along.
Present. You can be present.
I'll show up.
Yeah. So, yeah, we just head there and start.
So that there are some slight changes that you realize. So while you're walking through the innards of Johnny 7, here and there the meatiness of it is more what's it called? Like it is stronger, meaty than before. So if you walk through the tunnels, they have a fleshy feel to it, more so than before. And upon entering the mainframe room, the brain itself, like the tissue, is as it was before, but now it like knobs and levers and other formerly metallic things have taken on an almost naked lunchy feel to it. So Johnny 7 is definitely changing. And when you enter, he says, with like normally his voice is very deadpan and friendly, but also there's always the hint of I don't know, almost like an emptiness. And for the first time, you hear some cheer in his voice, and he says, "I would like to thank you all for allowing me this this last feat, and I would like to give something back."
I mean, it's kind of been our pleasure to help someone like you on this. It's not every day that you run into, you know, a walking, talking source fac from ancient times and are able to have conversations and shared goals and stuff.
Well, the old times are over, but to bathe in a last ember glow is so nice after all these centuries.
What do you want to do now, Johnny? Like, you know, everything that we saw before when we met you and we're leading you here and talking to you is like you were falling apart slowly. Are you still just gonna fade away?
I'm programmed to crawl if I must, crawl on my limbs until, you know, the last circuit breaks.
But what do you want, Johnny? Do you want to do that? Do you want us to try to heal you? Do you want to cease functioning as a factory? Do you want to die?
All I want is hard-coded into me, and it says live and produce. But after seeing, you know, the last thing I produced, after seeing that I still had something in me, it would be a nightmare to go on like this.
Would it be a nightmare if you could continue to produce things like that?
Oh, if I could continue to do what I was made to do, that would be like heaven.
Is there any other places that might have punch cards? I think we've exhausted the supply here.
Map. I need to have a quick look on the big map. Let's see. I mean, would he know? Have a quick look. So he says, there might be other places far, far away, but I don't know if I can make the journey.
So we know Hamish had a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the rule is never split the party. But if we had a fast mode of transportation, could we theoretically get those punch cards in other remote locations?
Theoretically, everything is possible.
I love how you say theoretically everything is possible.
I mean, it's a role-playing game. Everything is possible. It's what you want. So if I might step in as the GM for a second, I think the game, like you can play the game where, like however you want to. You could, theoretically travel back. You can have like an HQ, like a base. I mean, you could say, well, the plantation is now our base, and we try to discover the surrounding areas or make like trips to different places. It would definitely change the game we're playing. I think the basic idea is that we have a caravan and it always travels west, and sometimes new players come in and old players leave. I think that works best. I think as the East German Communist Party says, forwards always, backwards never.
Okay. So polling other players out of character, what do you want to do?
I've always thought of this as like a really interesting, weird side quest.
Okay.
But the goal is to get to Black City.
Okay.
Fair. Like the way I imagined this was that we were going to give Johnny his last hurrah and let him go.
Okay. Chris, that's pretty much
that's pretty much where I'm coming from.
Okay.
And then like in fiction, it doesn't seem like we have a great, like we could be like, oh yeah, Johnny, we'll totally try to find you more punch cards. But I almost feel like if we're being honest about it, it's not necessarily like we got lucky in the Umberlands. Like we knew that there would probably be stuff there, but I think anything else would be getting lucky.
Right.
And also we'd have to reset his doomsday clock, which I think, it's just an extra mechanic, that we have to be aware of. Like we had to cut short a bunch of stuff in order to get him here, which is fine, but again, I think it's like it's a great side quest, as opposed to the goal.
Totally fair.
Josh, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I agree. I think, we've done a good thing for Johnny 7.
Okay.
Which is more than I think the game probably expects of us. So
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Totally fair.
So yeah, I think Saffron to Johnny just is like, there might be more punch cards out there, but even if there are, like, by the time we find them, we don't know whether you would be even able in a condition to read them, and I don't want to get your hopes up on something that may be impossible.
Johnny, I know what it's like to outlive your people and your time. If you want to stop here, I can help you.
How could you help me?
We would deactivate you.
I am programmed to try to stop you from doing this.
Yeah.
And you do know that in the factory there are, I mean, you have obviously explored most of it, and you know the places where the spiders are, for example. So Johnny is not completely, without ways to harm you,
For
even
sure.
if he doesn't want to.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, we're here inside your mainframe room. Hopefully we be able to make it quick and easy. But it would be hard to leave you knowing that you would just slowly crumble and be miserable for another 1,000 years.
We don't want you to suffer. You've been very kind to us. We don't want you to hurt.
I cannot change what I am.
What if your clock just runs out, so to speak? Would you? I mean, would that be an acceptable way to go?
If my time has come and I have no power left, then this is an acceptable way to go. It won't be pleasant.
Do we know where Johnny's power is?
Yeah, you probably know where the engine room is.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I feel weird about killing Johnny. But we do know where the power is.
Johnny also said that would be a bad death.
Can we take a quick 5 minutes break, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Hey, I'm back now, or whenever you're ready. Whenever everybody else is back, I mean.
That's Josh. Josh, are you planning to run anything for GCorg?
Not currently. No. I might sign up, but right now I don't have, right now I don't have anything planned.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get a feel what people are trying to run. Chris, are you planning to run anything for open gaming?
Not yet. I started thinking about it, but
Yeah, it would be cool to have like a wide variety. I mean, most of the things seem to be like story gamey, which I think is cool. I think that's what most people are interested in. So I'm thinking about Lovecraft Desk maybe because it's easy to facilitate. But also it would be cool to have something else, like I don't know, maybe some OSRE stuff. I don't know.
You know,
And
once the
yeah,
OSE
Bucket?
Dolmenwood book comes out, right? That's
Yeah, Dolmen.
I've been looking at that.
Me too. I have all the magazines.
Yeah, I've been thinking about.
I don't have the zines because I've been waiting for the book, you know.
Oh, okay.
I'm
There's
glad.
gonna be slightly different content.
Oh,
Although I've heard that, well, now the plan is to put out just one hardcover, isn't it? Or
There's gonna be. My understanding is sometime around summer it's gonna be a Dolmenwood hardcover, which is, depending on who you ask and when, between 70 to 90% of the stuff from the what is it, Wormskin or Wormwood zines?
Wormskin.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be most of that, but not all of it, and the art's going to be different.
Interesting. Yeah, I was hoping just
no one will know for sure until the Kickstarter comes out and it says it on the page. But
yeah, I'm hoping for just a description of all the hexes. That's what I'm looking for. Cool. All right. So a tense moment. I think to have a slight comic relief, there's Victor rolling in. Victor is the mechanical penguin, and he has a plastic tray, like a cafeteria tray, and even the slug eggs seem to have changed, but they've changed the other way around. So they seem to I don't know. My question maybe for brother Methuselah / Josh. How normally Victor serves these like rubbery eggs, translucent eggs, but now they have like a mechanical side to it. How does it manifest?
I think that when Methuselah cracks open the egg and like peels it, I think that there is like inside of the actual egg white, there is some like inedible piece of machinery. He like
a cork or something.
Yeah, he puts his spoon in and it hits it, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, and Victor goes from from person to person, serving the eggs. And the last thing that Johnny Seven says is, or the next thing he says is, I would like to thank you all, and I'm really thinking about what I can give you.
mean, I don't know. I've learned a ton just having the chance to talk to you and go through all of this. But
We shared some moments, Saffron, and I hope that you have more freedom than I have.
I think, or I try to hold on to that, despite our shared origins, we took different paths. And that my people are less constrained. And while I wish you could have the same kind of freedom, we're different. I get that.
And then he says to Azure, I'd like to thank you for reminding me of the song you sang for me. This is a part of my life that I completely forgot.
Of course, Johnny. I have a great respect for the old times, which as you say, are gone. But I've learned as much as I can about the culture, and I'm happy to help you remember these things again. If there's anything else that you'd like to, if you want me to tell you more stuff that I know about, I'm happy to. It is a real pleasure to be here with you. You're a page from the olden days, which my people highly revere. So, as the others have said, it's been an honor to be here with you and be able to help you get here and do this.
Yeah, I heard what you're saying, Abe, but it's really difficult. I'm not sure. I was thinking it was my. Yeah, sort of.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let me see if
It's
I
really
can.
garbled.
I mean, my internet connection is pretty shitty at the moment, but I think it's on your side.
I'm on a gig
what-
fiber connection and it's garbled. So
Yeah, okay, cool. So, what are your plans? How do you want to end Johnny 7, if that is what you want?
is there any way that we could, for example, block the spider holes?
I mean, there are a couple of, but you could definitely do that. I mean, you could do it mechanically. Saffron could try to, bypass the security system and connect directly to Johnny 7 again.
Mm-hmm.
Azure could do it probably with a salamander.
I mean, ultimately, I think Saffron was thinking that they might be able to essentially melt a key circuit inside the neural computer of Johnny 7, just reach in and sever some component as being this is the fastest way to shut everything down. It still leaves the open question of, okay, what happens after that? Do all the security systems trigger? Does the entire construct just start falling apart around us? But,
Well, Johnny 7 said that if the power fails, that's going to be something painful, correct?
yeah, so Saffron is trying to think of something that was less than just disconnecting his power supply.
So, is there any way to deactivate Johnny Seven's consciousness and then take out the power supply?
Hey guys, sorry, I'm back now. I'm just doing it on my phone, which should be fun. I can still roll for the roll your party. Sorry about that.
Cool, no problem.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
We can hear you. Yeah, definitely. So Saffron can definitely find a way to either shut down the consciousness or somehow find the hard-coded, program that forces Johnny Seven to act the way he acts. You could try to, shut down the neural like the information that would cause him pain, because pain is just in some kind of information. There are different ways. It depends on the how you want to go about it.
Yeah, so it's kind of the two, like mechanically, I was thinking this would either be an interface to, if we were like tweaking programming. So maybe like interface would be if we're trying to apply some digital anesthesia to Johnny Seven, or what did I call it? Mechanical flame was actually the other way I was thinking of, just like literally severing some connection or like some biomechanical linkage inside this brain room that we're in.
I have healing potions with me to make sure that if you work a miracle, that you're not going to die.
I have some too. We stocked up.
Good.
So
yeah, and I think you do because Azure D's Salamander, I think, had made like kind of what's it called? Like diagnosis of the system. So you connected Saffron connected directly to the mainframe, so you do know where the parts are.
Yeah, we've kind of previously explored the interior of Johnny's brain a bit. But I think so. Like Nida, your reasoning, or like Puckett, your OSR sense kicking in of, do we want to do some prep before that, is potentially valid. Do we want to have an escape route? Do we want to try to disable some secondary systems?
This is all stuff we can do while J7 is friendly before automated protocols kick in and try to kill us.
Yeah. So I think that is totally valid and something we should at least briefly explore.
I have a question.
Yes.
Brother Methuselah, as a accountant monk, has his ancient thinking machine, which is able to deduce complex mathematical problems. And what is a programmed biomass but a form of deeply complicated mathematics? So would I be able
some
to,
form of computation in any case?
Yeah. So would I be able to use my thinking machine as like a debugger for Johnny Seven? Because I feel like that is a lot.
Hell yeah. That is a perfect use of your slot, a perfect use of the thinking machine.
Quick question. I still have Satrap 88's crystal snail with me. Would that be?
Oh, yeah. So the crystal snail, as far as I remember, had two functions. It has the memory of Satrop 88,
Mm-hmm.
and it has some kind of divination ability. So I think no, unless, I mean, because I don't think that you can attune to the snail. I mean, I think you tried to retrieve the memory from the snail, but even that failed.
Okay. So here's a weird question. Could we download Johnny 7's consciousness into the snail without disrupting Satrap 88's consciousness?
Satrop 88's consciousness has been.
That's right. It's being decant. This is his memories.
Yeah, this is just the memory of the recent, like the 3 days in the mountain village.
Okay.
Worth a try.
Because, I mean, that way we could keep Johnny 7 alive, and Johnny 7 could still make things. And, I mean, we kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Potentially.
I mean, it would obviously take somebody much smarter and wiser than I am to do this, but
how would he able to do something, though? That is my question. Would you then, like, let's say you could download the consciousness to the snail. It seems possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I feel like then we would need to find another source fact to insert him into.
Yes.
But it would essentially be like, we're going to archive your consciousness in the snail.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in the future we'll be able to do something with it.
Yeah.
Which maybe is reasonable. It maybe still fulfills Johnny's directives.
Mm-hmm.
Would he be conscious though? Because that might be hell for him if he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm trapped in this snail."
It's storage material.
Yeah, I think it's like
there's no processing in it.
Yeah, it would be a backup and not like a program running.
Yeah.
And if we're thinking about it in computational terms, in terms of systems, the snail is basically a hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no computation that
weird
occurs on a hard drive.
Holographic snail DVD.
Yeah.
I mean, Saffron, you are also looking for a body for your mother.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be just another task to find a suitable body for Johnny 7. And you do know that there are, oh wow. You do know that there are other artifacts and source facts in the Ultraviolet Grasslands in better shape than Johnny.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's if we can convince, if Johnny's okay to go along with it, then it's definitely a reasonable possibility.
So when you suggest this, Johnny 7 says, well, I'm forbidden by my code to die. But there's nothing says that it is forbidden to make a backup.
I mean, I think to make the backup, ideally, it would be a transfer more than a backup. It would be moving you from this body that is falling apart to a temporary storage, and then later, hopefully, we can put you somewhere much better shape.
I think literally at that moment, one of the knobs like not explode. It's like a pimple that you press, and some kind of goo squirts out. And Johnny says, "I just checked. A transfer is not against the protocol."
Right. Okay. Well, let's start getting things set up to see if we can pull this off.
I hand the snail over to you. Say, be careful. This is Satrap's memory we're talking.
So, yeah, I think we give this a shot. I think we take our time to start the negotiations of what this ritual will.
Yes. So I think it would be like almost a bigger miracle. What you're trying to do is to transfer the whole program from technology that you are well aware of to a crystal device that was a parasite within a satrap. This light creature that's completely unknown technology for you. So we're starting off with something crazy. So I would say this is. I need to. Where's my white hack?
Yeah. Well, it'll be. We'll start at something crazy, and we'll figure out whether we can.
You could survive
it. That down, yes. Mitigate it.
Yeah. How long will it take, and how much materials do we need? And
do we have to go back into the Hall of the Underking?
Do we have to find something else to be able to pull this off? Yeah.
Yeah. Hit point costs for magic. So we always using the D6 scale. And the highest possible cost is about half the average HP of a level 10 character, which is 2d6 plus 2. I want to say it's 2d6 because you do know one side of the equation.
Well, 2d6 all at once is a lot.
Did you take damage last time that you didn't heal up yet? Because I see your hit points are only at 2.
Yeah.
Abe, you want to say something?
Yeah, I know I've just been reading like the beta of the satrap rules. Is that in effect at all? Like just like helping, like distribute the damage, whatever. Because all helping totally takes less, if that's possible.
Say it again.
Is there a way to distribute the damage? Can I help? Can I help Saffron?
Yeah, you wouldn't take damage yourself because you can't cast magic. But what you could do is by helping out, you could reduce the cost.
Okay, great. I'll do that.
How do you help?
Well, with the salamander would be the obvious.
Yeah, I would act again as like a fuse or like what did we say? Like an administrator or some system admin.
Could I use Ajax to help buffer any psychic toll?
I want to say no because this is I think this is mainly like an electronic thing.
Okay.
It's less a psychic damage.
Okay.
All right. Is that with the thinking machine reprogramming accounted for, or is that
not accounted for? So let's say it's D6 plus 2 with a salamander, and it's a D6 with a thinking machine.
Okay.
Okay. Then I'm trying to think of other forms of preparation. Like if we did more preparation, or what parts and stuff do we have on hand? I guess we have one more set of machine parts. So we could try to maybe, like, part of it is we could try to like put together the interface system so that it's not all going through me. It's Saffron directing something going through to perform the transfer. So maybe there's like, we spend like several days or a week putting together this transfer system and hooking it together.
Yeah, definitely. So time.
Yeah, it's like time plus the last of the machine parts.
Time plus the last of the machine parts would reduce it to. So we said D6. I want to say a D3, but a D3 can still kill you, couldn't it?
I can heal before performing it. So if we get it down to at most like a D4, then I'm fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and a D, like time and parts, especially if it's a week, that's definitely a D3, which is better than a D4.
Okay. If everyone is cool sitting here and eating slowly degrading snail eggs, then
I like J7. I'm roaming around the ultraviolet grasslands, recording everything that I see. So yeah, I'm on board.
Cool. All right. So you spent another week at the plantation, I think, and we're doing the classic montage with. Brother Methuselah, could you describe your part in the plan? How does it look like? That's for you, Josh.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So we have like a montage of the week that you spent at the plantation, and everybody is trying to prepare for this transfer of Johnny Seven's consciousness. And you all play a part in it. And how does Brother Methuselah's part look like?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Brother Methuselah is he has his thinking machine, and I think he has found an input on Johnny Seven that his thinking machine is able to connect to.
Mm-hmm.
And because they are both very old technologies, and he is, sort of inputting. He is staring at the thinking machine and like moving around like I guess it sort of looks like an abacus is what I'm thinking. And he's like moving around little things as it like mirrors itself on Johnny Seven.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then we have Jourdi's salamander. How does it look like when the salamander does the admin function?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
So we had the montage scene where we tried to transfer Johnny Seven's consciousness.
Yep.
And we see Brother Methuselah connecting the thinking machine to the mainframe, and at the end of the montage, Saffron will transfer the consciousness to the crystal snail. But how does Jourdi's salamander play a role in this process?
Early on in the process, I jack it in with the USB tail, and basically it's basically just a kind of monitoring, but instead of like its usual wiry bio looking business, it seems to kind of throb with the kind of with the in sort of harmony with the OS, with Johnny 7's OS. And it gets, at night you can see it's got a slight glow to it, from coming from like underneath the skin.
Cool. And so during the week, what does NIDA do? You don't have like a direct role in this, but you can do any of these tasks that you normally can do at a location, like foraging or looking for discoveries.
Is this plantation worth noting for Mencia?
The plantation itself, probably not. But what she would definitely be interested in is the Hall of the Umber King, because there's these old statues and the colossi. And the last time you visited it, and it's just I think it is 1 day of travel away from the plantation. Making sketches of these arcs, for example, and the ruins would be definitely of value, because you see aristocrats and archaeologists crawling around the place everywhere.
Okay. After checking with everyone else to make sure there's nothing they need that I can do, I'm going to head over there and take some sketches. And can I roll for discoveries there? Just to see if I find anything interesting?
Okay. Sure.
All right. And then what do I roll for discoveries? Was it D20?
It's a D20, and you roll with your intelligence modifier, and you add it to the roll.
Well, I don't have an intelligence modifier because my int is only at 9.
Yeah, that's all plus 0.
Okay, so roll D20. That's a 1.
A 1 is probably not good.
I'm thinking so.
Let's see. Well, you don't find it. Just looking, is there any negative thing?
Is that roll so bad that I can't even find the Hall of the Underking?
No. You find the Hall of the Umber King. No, you just don't. You make the sketches of the arches and the ruins. And you also do get 100 XP for exploring the place, but you don't find anything else.
Oh, what a shame.
And at the end of the week, everything has been prepared. So, Saffron.
Chris, did you fix your hit points already?
No, I should use up one of my potions and apply that. So I'll quick roll 2d6 to make sure that I don't have to use 2.
Do you need to use one of your potions if we are waiting here for a week, or would that heal you?
Otherwise, I have to level
problem,
up, I think.
So the way it works in Ultraviolet Grasslands is you can do things or you can heal. So, for example, what NIDA could have done is she could have cared for Saffron, and that is the same as Saffron doing nothing and healing.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Well, I used one healing potion and rolled 6, so I'm back up to full.
Nice.
My full was 5. My original hit die roll.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I guess you're using interface.
Yeah. So it's this connecting all of the bits together and digging deep into Johnny Seven's like memory core, programming cores, and all of that to set up the transfer.
And is it again that like part of your head is like is your brain exposed and connected to to Johnny Seven?
Yeah, it's the same thing where we have this like peel apart some of the like meaty layer that has grown over some of his machinery, and I'm kind of like peel back the silicone skin on the back of my head, and we like patch some cables in to kind of hook up one-to-one. And we'll see.
Yes, and I mean it is a miracle, or that's how it's called.
Yeah.
So, and it's one of your slots. It will work. You don't have to roll. We just have to see how much it strains you,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the D3 roll.
3. So I'll just do arbitrary die. 1D3. 1D3 is a 3. But
So it does actually strain you more than you thought, probably.
it's hard.
And yeah. So
For sure.
could you describe how does it look like when the information goes into the snail, and how do we see the effect of this magic?
So I think the part that ended up being more strenuous. So the plan was, I'm just going to direct it. Like we did all of this preparation to interface it together, and we used these machine parts. And the plan was that I was going to go rummaging inside Johnny 7 and essentially shove everything out across this interface hookup into the snail, and it would record everything, and it would be great. And from the outside, if that had all gone great, it wouldn't have really looked like much. Like I think like inside the holographic memory of the snail, you would have seen like the bits getting written into it and like little lights lighting up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what happened was, in order to make this go cleanly, to not leave parts of Johnny 7 behind and to not lose stuff in the transfer, Saffron actually had to route a portion of this through their being, through their body, and through their positronic brain. So like had to be like, okay, well, this one linkage that we did wasn't actually enough, and had to essentially pull some of it through them into the snail and like consciously work through writing this. And just like the sheer effort plus the like mental mechanical exhaustion of doing it is what made this.
Love it. And it's obviously that parts of the like memories and personality passes through you and obviously strains you.
Yeah, it's like these are so beyond like even Saffron. To have them going through their brain basically is a lot.
But at the end of the process, you have the crystal snail, and it, as you described it, there are these lights flashing inside of the snail in different colors, and when the process is finished, there's almost like a blue standby light that is slowly pulsing.
Mhm. And now maybe we need to get out before all of this collapses around us.
So during the week, the whole machine that is Johnny 7 has already started transforming. So the bottom part completely turned into plants, like the pipes and the threads it was moving on formed roots that rooted itself into the ground. The outside metallic parts started to rust, and the inside fleshy bits started to become like completely meaty. So when then the process is done, the tunnels leading to the outside, they almost look like a column or something that is contracting. Is it the right word? Like pressing together and releasing and pressing together. So who is in the mainframe when the process is finished? Saffron, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
So Saffron and Azure. But
Methuselah probably is.
Yeah, still with the thinking machine, like supervising the last step of the process.
Yeah.
And Nida?
At this point, I think Nida would have wanted to be there just to see what happens, and also because she needs to take the crystal snail.
okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you can definitely, like, when the last bit of Johnny 7's personality passes into Saffron, and from Saffron into the crystal, there is it's almost like something alive is in the process of like the last death woes. And so you feel the whole machine starting to shake. The tunnels that leave outside started contracting. What do you do?
Run for it.
And I would say let's just see how well you do. Starting with, I think, probably Azure. Could you make a dex save? Like not a dex check, I would say.
Is it under my dex?
This is equal or under your dex.
Great. My dex is 16, so
It should work.
Six.
Easy peasy. So how does it look like if you dodge the? It's also that from some of the side tunnels, there's the spiders emerging. I think you skipped the plan of shutting down the spider holes.
Yeah, I just make a hasty retreat for the exit. Let's see. just dashing down the different halls, as you get to a certain, get to like a T intersection. One is kind of one of like the one to the right is kind of swelling shut. So you take the left and make it out as quickly as possible.
Nice. And the next one is NIDA. Let's see. NIDA, could you also make a dex check?
Sure thing. Also, I have a group to add from a level. Is there any chance that adding Yellowlander to my dex would help here?
You tell me how.
Actually, Legion of the Farsight training would probably make more sense because of teaching me to be nimble and escaping after a hit if I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Is there like let's see. So what would the training like? It obviously has to be some kind of similar-ish situation. What was the situation like? Is there some kind of
Running obstacle
chamber?
courses,
Yeah,
like diving through rings, mantling over tables, basically trying to teach people how to get into position to snipe a target quickly and get away quickly. So ingress, egress,
And is that like some kind of like 36 chambers type of situation that they have set up this elaborate parkour for you to do, or is it in old ruins?
It's actually a little bit more complicated than that because they modify it and they make you take it almost like whenever you're back in town where the Legion of the Farsight headquarters is, you basically have to requalify, like going out on the range and be recertified. So they, every time you come in, they make you run the course again, and it's always different. There's actually there's a person who sets up the course, and that's their only job, and it is also their job to make sure that they record how the course was set up for each Legion of the Farsight member who ran it, so that they never repeat that course. It's a demanding job.
Can you give me the name of the person? Or you can think about it now, maybe. And then
Salvera.
Salbera?
Yeah, Salbera works too.
Okay. Cool. So make
Salbera.
Salbera. So make the roll with advantage.
All right, and that's 2d20.
That's 2d20, and you want to roll equal or under.
All right. Let me clear this stuff. $2d20 equal or under. I got a 10. My dex is 11.
Perfect.
Good, because the other one's 18.
And so how does that look like? Like how does the old Legion of the Farsight training kicks in?
Well, because they're contracting to the size of the rings that I had to dive through, except, well, honestly, those rings were smaller. So sliding over things, mantling, grabbing onto overhanging bars and flipping through them, it's really not an issue. But, that final ring is contracting and it looks like it might be too narrow to slip through. But thanks to that training, I can just dive through it, hit the ground, roll, come up, dust a little dirt off of my cloak and walk off, sit down, wait.
Cool. And then we have, let's see, the keeper, it's Brother Methuselah.
Yeah. Roll. That is a 3, which is handily
Wow.
dexterity.
That's easy under your dexterity. And I think, I mean, you are an accountant monk. It's probably the monk part that kicks in and not the accountant part.
Yeah, I think Methuselah, uh, he notices the changes happening inside of Johnny Seven, and he uh, disconnects his thinking machine, and then I think he just, like speed walks out through the, like shuffling along the little hall.
Is it like Sherlock Holmes, like one of these newer Sherlock Holmes movies where you can just think about what could have happened and think about all the alternatives?
Yeah, not quite, mind palacy, but I think he notices it a little bit. He notices it, I think, like a second or two earlier,
Mhm.
because he is paying so much attention to the part of Johnny Seven where his thinking machine is attached.
Mhm.
And when he notices it, he is out of there.
Cool. And then I think it makes sense that Saffron is the last to leave the mainframe. I
Unfortunately.
mean, you have to you have to disconnect yourself
Mhm.
from what is left of Johnny Seven.
Yeah. My dex is awful.
Yeah, I know.
So-
I mean, maybe Nida stayed behind and would try to help you. I don't know.
If someone could
That
distract
makes
some of these spiders away, someone
I
who's
mean-
more nimble.
Considering that I had like the least to do during the week,
Yeah.
I think it makes sense that I would like try to stay and help now, because after all, Crystal Snail is going to be there, everything like that, and
Mhm.
it's my job to protect
I mean,
that snail.
yeah, we have already established that you moved through the building, through the machine, but I would imagine that you are, at the end of the tunnel, maybe trying to cover the retreat.
Well, and I
That's
do
a
have that
good
staff,
image.
and I could smack some spiders with it if necessary.
Yeah, exactly. So that would if you would fail, then Nida could mitigate the harm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll give it a shot. I like the image of Nida covering me as I'm like trying to get through this weird exit sphincter, and then it's like stuff is about to close and I have to like slide Indiana Jones style under the door, except it's a sphincter closing.
Yes.
There's an image.
Yep. Let's see how that goes. Hopefully not. Hopefully it just goes well. That'd be great. No, it really doesn't. That's 20.
Okay, guys, I need to pee. Can we take another 5 minutes break and I think about what goes wrong?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. I'm back when everybody else is.
Puckett, are you back? Okay. Cool. So I imagine the following scene. We see Saffron running through this meaty tunnel, and it is moving, and so it's really difficult to keep your footing. And we see behind Saffron this wall of black metallic spiders crawling on ceiling and walls and the floor. And it looks as if they will catch up with Saffron before they reach the Sphinxter. And we can also see Nida on the other side of the tunnel. And I assume that you have your the sniper rifle, the plasma rifle.
Oh God, no! This is a shotgun situation.
Oh,
and
wow.
So you've got this wall of spiders behind you, and I yell, "Down!" So should I?
That's a command I can work with that command.
I mean, you see the shotguns out.
Yeah.
So, is this a dex roll or?
This is an attack roll. You have to roll on your AV.
Okay, AV D20.
Mm-hmm. And you want to roll equal or under, but above 2, because that is their AC. That is their, they have this metal carapace.
Equal or under 211.
Equal.
Above 2.
Yes, it's
Okay. God damn it, that's a 1.
Holy shit. I mean,
Amazing.
that means you hit, but we see the shotgun blast, and the spiders they seem to stop in their track, and they get hit by the the cone, the pellets, but they just they don't. Yeah, maybe even 2 or 3 of them are killed, but you don't make like a big impact on them. And yes, Abe?
That was an accidental unmute.
Oh, okay, no worries. So I would say, to see what happens next, we have to see who acts first. So roll a d6, and that is for the whole group. I'd say Saffron, because you're the one acting, trying to get out, I guess.
Sure. That's a 6.
Oh, nice. That is a 6. So I roll a d6 for the spiders. And that is a 3. So you act first. What do? You can see that the shotgun blasts seem to have, halted them for like a split second.
I think at this point, because I'm kind of like down on the ground, as I was waiting for Nida to get the blast off, I was like reaching into my belt to pull out my neural whip,
Nice.
so that when I get the chance, I am up and trying to get away and like using the neural whip, like whipping it back and forth, trying to keep them at least some distance from me as I'm trying to get to the other side of Nida.
Yeah, I would say that is what would you say? Is it like streetwise using the whip in the sense of a social distancing mechanism almost?
Yeah, it's like I'm just trying to like keep them away. It's like I'm not trying to like specifically hit them. It's just like stay back.
Yeah, it's like a smart use of the tools at hand. I don't know, intelligence or wisdom both would work for me.
I would much rather this be a wisdom roll. So let's just go with that. This was intuition.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, makes sense. It is also more like using your wits in a certain situation rather than knowledge.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily about me being particularly great at it. So, yeah, let's give that a shot. Wisdom check. I am rolling wonderfully. That was a 17 on my 15 wisdom.
So what goes wrong, Saffron?
Oh man, I think they're like, I'm like trying to throw the whip around and a bunch of them just swarm up the whip.
And so Nida can act and then the spiders will act.
I yell, "Get down!" and fire the shotgun again. And with any luck, it'll go better this time, right?
Maybe.
We can hope. We can hope. Nope, 14.
So I think this time, where are you when you shoot? Are you inside the moving tunnel or are you shooting from outside? Like if you're inside, you're just inside, like you're next to the...
Yeah, I think I'm just inside because I don't want the contracting exit to alter my aim. I mean, if I screw this up, I want to screw it up myself. I don't want to be accounting for like the motion of Johnny 5 and like this, dilating entrance exit.
And what do you think went wrong? Why are you off your aim?
I think it was a dud shell.
Oh wow! So it hits, but
it just it doesn't even go off. The firing pin hits the shell, but it's just like click.
All right. Oh wow! So now the spiders, and these spiders, they look pretty mean. It's not that they're like super powered or something, but they have this black mandibles, and you can also see that there's something dripping off the mandibles. We do like a bit of a simplified group combat. So I do it the Dungeon World style. They attack, and then we just add the numbers of spiders to the roll. So let's see. Roll a d20. And they are level 2, which is AV11. They have to roll under 11. And do you have... sorry, 12. 2 and 10 is 12. Do you have armor?
I have AC 1.
Okay, so between 2 and 11.
Yeah.
Submit. That does hit. And so Ooh, wow. So 5, and let's say there are 2d6 spiders. That's 7 spiders. 5 and 7 or 6 is 11 points of damage.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah. I don't get it. Like, I think I like try to throw my whip away, but I maybe don't even get a chance.
So there are 2 ways to once a combat, you can make either a saving throw or a constitution check to mitigate every kind of damage, whichever is better.
Okay.
Let me read the rules completely. But the problem is if you, I mean, you're dead anyway.
Yeah.
So let's see if this is true. I think it is a saving throw, which is probably super low for you, or is it?
My saving throw is 6.
Okay.
My con is also 6, but
Oh.
I have Machine Human in
Okay.
my con, which would be directly applicable here.
Totally makes sense.
So I
because they
would get to roll with
shoot-
advantage.
Yes.
So we can see how that goes.
Death and damage.
Are you double checking that, or should I just roll the?
Once per battle, when an attack would damage them, they have the option to save. A successful save reduces the damage by 6 points. Representing an adrenaline rush. If the save fails, however, the character takes full damage. She's still knocked out. When a character is hit, you subtract the damage from her hit points. If an attack reduces her HP to 0, she's knocked out until she is positive. If that gives her negative HP, she's knocked out and must save or die. So make the roll first.
Just the saving throw?
Yeah, either now you're mitigating the damage first. Okay. That's what you're trying.
I wasn't sure from your read on the rules whether the con alternate was applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use 2d20 because of the machine human.
Okay. Well, we'll give that a shot. That's a 10 and a 15, so neither of those succeed against my con. I was going to go negative anyway.
Exactly. It was pretty pointless. But now comes this. Oh, yeah, excuse me.
Isn't there something about armor breaking or taking a permanently reduced armor on that piece, on that set of armor to reduce damage or mitigate it?
It's like the shields shall be sundered or whatever it's called. Don't think that is a white hack rule.
Okay.
I think that is black hack. The black hack.
It was one of those things. Like I had that rule floating around in the back of the gray matter, and I wanted to double check to see if it was this system or another system.
Yeah, you can always, if you have a shield, which Saffron doesn't have, you can always mitigate a full attack with sundering the shield.
I think I am. There's no way I'm not going negative on this. So
how do we save?
There's the last grasp, which is save or die, which is just a plain saving throw. It's the D6 or lower, 6 or lower.
Let me see how this goes. Fingers crossed. No, that's a 13.
All right. So this is the first death of a character after, I don't know, 8 or so sessions. I think this is we did pretty well up till now.
Yeah.
So Saffron, how does it look like? I mean, it will all obviously have to do with a swarm of spiders. But what's the last moments look like for you?
I I mean, I think it's
And you have the snail. Is it that you have the snail or
Nida
Nida?
took the snail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nida was being protective of the snail in general and kind of took ownership of that. So that's
like-
okay.
I was trying to protect Satrap's memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's that they totally swarm me and I'm kind of like getting dragged back in as this tunnel is like pulsing and Nida can't get like a clear line of sight to get anything off. I think like in the last moments, my little furry chitin kite kind of wriggles free and like skitters off through the air and like flies past Nida.
Beautiful picture. And does it float into the sky? Is that the last shot?
I think it hangs out.
It hangs around as a
Mhm.
reminder to of Saffron to the others. So, do you think that it's probably a long shot? Do you think that Saffron has a soul? Because as a machine,
I mean, I think Saffron, in some ways, thinks they might, or that. I mean, part of the thing with Saffron wanting to find a body for Mother was the notion that there's some separate thing that can become embodied.
Mm-hmm.
And that it is a little different from like Johnny 7. It's not programming.
Mm-hmm.
So Saffron certainly kind of thinks there is.
So in Whitech, there's the rule that after the character dies, players can choose to play their ghost until the end of the session, which means that you can communicate, I think, with others.
Okay.
You can't interact with a physical world, but you can interact with, other ghosts, for example. You can definitely see that Brother Methuselah is a ghost. But you could also say it does not make sense for my character to have a ghost form. Or third alternative, it could be that when Johnny 7 passed through you, they've taken some elements of your personality with them into the snail, so that there's like a vague remnants of consciousness of you left that can't interact with the world but can communicate.
Like a fragmented hard drive almost?
Almost. I want to see.
I actually had a question for Saffron. Your mom's consciousness, is that stored within you or is it on some sort of external storage device?
I don't have it with me. It is much more ethereal. Like,
so it's not like something like
right
the crystal snail where you could like toss an object to me and I could preserve it for you. Okay.
Partially it was kind of undefined play to find discoveries and figure out what the hell I was doing. But also I just genuinely think it was this kind of, even to Saffron, this kind of vague, well, it's out there, and if I figure out how to get a body in and like inject stuff into it, then we'll figure it out.
Okay. Since it seems like Nida is becoming the carrier of such things, I wanted to make sure you didn't have something that you could just like chuck to her as the spiders are dragging you
Yeah,
back.
that's what I would have. If I had something like that, that's what it would have been. I liked the mental image of this weird kind of, you know, conscious
Amorphous.
height thing is just going to hang around as a little pal.
Yeah.
So the consciousness is in the cloud, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, to the best of Saffron's knowledge, it's like Mother is this like figure, and if I did the right things, I would be able to perform a miracle that would embody her, basically. And it's even less physical than any of this Johnny 7 stuff.
So I personally, as a player, when I'm playing a game, I embrace character death. I think in an OSR game, it's just cool to die in the most horrific way. The more horrific, the better.
And this was heroic in a cool way of like the end of this arc with Johnny 7.
Exactly.
Like,
so I'm fine with this is Saffron's story. The story is told, and we can see how the rest of the group mourns them. But the game gives us another option if that is what you choose, which is a ghost form and resurrection. So ghost form, in your case, probably means that they're somehow the most important part of your consciousness is in the snail, and the rest of the group can, as a quest almost, find a suitable body for your consciousness. That is totally within the rules. That is not cheating. Does it feel, satisfying for you or not? That's the question.
I mean, I could go either way. I could go with, like I like the image of, or like the fiction of some part of Saffron got siphoned into, like melded into Johnny 7, plus like the little remnant of my machine spirit hanging out for the rest of the session and then passing away.
Cool.
Or if the rest of the party is like, oh no, it would be super cool to go hunt for a way to re-embody Saffron, I wouldn't turn that down, I guess. But if people are like also kind of ambivalent, I'm totally fine just rolling another character and having this end.
I think that the furry kite that would all of a sudden give like sage advice is a cool interpretation of the ghost rule, because the ghost rule says that the character, the player is still part of the session and can give advice in this ghost form. So that would be the kite option. Then there's the option of resurrection, which would mean you find a suitable body and do the whole doodle bugging again or interface. Or we just say Saffron's story is told. What do you think, guys?
Nida feels responsible. So Nida's going to want to try to fix things however she can.
Okay.
Azure, this was something I was thinking about. Azure's got massive survivor's guilt because she just failed. And she feels partly responsible because we were like a team to bring Johnny back, and his ironic death at the hands of Johnny is really eating away at her. So I was thinking that she would like adopt the balloon,
the
guard it fiercely for the rest of the game. Whether or not there's a soul imparted in it or not. That'll be my kind of way of, pen.
Well, Methuselah is himself a ghost. So I feel like he would probably be pretty sympathetic to the plight of one of his fellows.
Except I've learned your secret now.
Yeah, that is true. And as players, like that seems to be even more important. Like Neither has survivor guilt. I understand that, and that Azure D, takes over the kite, and that Methuselah doesn't even see the difference. So no corporal form. Who cares? Happens all the time.
Yeah.
But as players, do you think that this is a cool way to go forward, or do you think, nah?
As a player, I would like to find Saffron a new body.
Okay, cool.
And
Yeah,
that's
me too.
cool with me.
Yeah, I'm also, I think that is a good way to go about this.
I will
Okay.
I will note that even taking like meta step back one further is I'm here through this series and then I'm out in June.
Mm-hmm.
And then I might try to rejoin if this keeps going after June, but
It will keep going until we reach the Black City.
So
I mean, if we don't find a suitable body for you in the next session or so, then I think that quest just kind of gets pended until you come back.
Yeah.
Or it's like back, but you keep looking for it.
Yeah.
And if it happens,
we just don't find it. Yeah, it's like maybe we find something and we can like drag it along until we reach whenever you can rejoin us, something like that. Maybe we could just be cruising along with like, an empty robot in the back doing nothing.
Yeah, I would
carrying around a lot of consciousnesses, so I don't think it's a big deal to.
Hey, what are we at now? Like 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sure, we're gonna have more consciousnesses than players.
That's true. So I would say that whatever you would resurrect to would be an amalgam. I don't know how to pronounce it. Of Johnny Seven and yourself, Johnny Seven and Saffron. So you would have obviously all your stats would be the same, but personality-wise, there would probably be Johnny Saffron instead of Johnny Seven. Cool. All right. It looks almost as if the upper part of Johnny Seven collapses the moment Nida jumps. In the last moment, she jumps out of the tunnel. And how do we see the aftermath of the of Saffron's death?
I know in Nida's case, it changes her exit. She's not dusting her shoulder off like nothing just happened. She dives through and comes up. And my face is... If you look at it very quickly, you will see rage cross it, and then it goes back to a stone face. And she knows there's nothing that she can do. She's not trying to jump back in. But she's very obviously upset.
And I mean, it must remind you of the woman you left behind. Like it is as if it's another death that's on your conscious.
It reminds me of the slave I left in the camp. It reminds me of the tribe members I left behind, the ones who accosted me and said that I was foolish for leaving, that everything was going to be fine, listen to the elders. It's not just one more death. It's that this is someone who I had traveled with and in some way felt responsible for, and who I ultimately failed. That death, Saffron's death, is on my conscience because I should have been ready. I had the shotgun out. I fired at the spiders. It wasn't effectual. I fired again. The shell was a dud. How I couldn't have known that the shell was a dud, but still, it was my fault. I was supposed to protect them.
And Chris, you want to say something?
I was just gonna say the first thing my ghost is gonna do is be like, well, also remember I rolled like ass.
That is also
I mean,
true.
we both did, but still.
And I mean, Azudi, how do you react to, you all see the body being dragged away while the mandibles, stick their pointy ends into Saffron's body. How do you react to the obvious death?
Basically just slack-jawed and staring in disbelief, just in shock. And I think...
And holding the kite, obviously.
Yes. I look up at it sadly, look back, and...
I want to say it reminds you of the floating squid, which was your first pet, I remember. But
did I lose that memory?
That memory is gone.
Right.
So there's like a short pain when you look at the rope, and you think there was something, but no, it's gone.
That dramatic irony of
then after a suitable amount of time, I start ugly crying.
Okay, cool. All right. So what do you do next? Like, when do you realize, and how do you realize that part of Saffron's personality or consciousness is in the snail?
I think the kite comes over to me, and the tail of it starts tapping at the snail, which is unusual behavior that we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it's pointing at something.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from Chris's actions, because Chris, you can actually move the kite around as you please.
No, I like the idea of at least to maybe Nida and Azure, it's like just the kite. Maybe Methuselah is like, oh, actually, that's like remnants of Saffron are like in the kite now, of like some ghost matter of Saffron. But yeah, definitely the like, ooh, hey.
Yeah,
snail,
I like
snail.
Pocket. I like the idea as well. I just wanted to ask Chris if he's okay with this. And I don't know, Brother Methuselah, is there a way for you to computate that?
To computate.
Oh, to ask, use your machine to ask a question to.
Oh,
like to find out why would the kite, tick on the crystal snail? What's going on with the crystal snail and the kite? What kind of connection is there?
Well, I mean, if Methuselah can understand that Saffron is a spirit because he is an ultra, then I feel like he would. Yeah, he would understand, at least to something better than the other people, at least.
So it's less your accounting monk abilities than your ultra character.
Yeah, I think it is much more so because he is an ultra and because he is a Jeremiah.
Cool. And so would you see their soul in the snail somehow?
I think,
or is it more like an instinct that that there must be something?
I think he would be able to understand that their soul is in the snail. I don't think it would be. I don't know if it would be like in a way that is explainable to someone who isn't a spirit. Also,
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not a visual.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah,
it is a like human sensory experience, but I think it is certainly a sensory experience that he can identify.
And so what do you do after realizing that?
Well, I think I don't I think he suggests that we take good care of what we have of the kite and the snail, because I don't think he can just go out and be like, oh, the snail has a part of Saffron's consciousness in it, without revealing the fact that he is an ultra, which I do not believe is particularly a good thing.
Yeah, there are definitely laws against ultras. There are rumors that ultras take over people and undermine villages and so forth. Yeah, they're misunderstood.
Yeah. Also, there is that one ultra hunter that is riding with us currently.
Yeah, well, that is true. He's looking for ghost laborers who fled. So I think you're also the employer. So, but that is true. Vigo Brastec eyes you with suspicion.
Co-worker, I think, in terms of hierarchy.
All right. So, what are the plans for the next steps?
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
well,
Could,
it,
do
feel free.
some kind of, I think
Say
maybe
again?
we do some kind of ceremony.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, how do you like? Is there a burial of something, like something that? Do you bury the chitinous kite, the furry kite? I hope not.
No, I'm hanging on to it. It's my baby now.
Yeah. Is it something?
I think maybe that there's an appropriate ritual from the secret Azure cult.
Mm-hmm.
I won't let on that it's from the secret Azure cult, but it's like a warrior's burial or something like that,
And how does it look like? Like, is it? You don't have a body,
right? I think it's like a what do you call it? Like a Viking Valhalla type ritual. So we're just gonna but it's just gonna be just the fire, and it's like just a lot of chanting in the old world language from me, and and then ask everybody to say something. We all say some sort of reflection on Saffron.
So what does Nida say about Saffron?
Saffron was a good traveler and a good companion. I learned from them. I'll carry that knowledge forward and remember them.
And I don't know. I think Vigo also steps forward. And he just says cryptically, death doesn't have to be the end. And then turns around. With a side eye to Brother Methuselah.
Yeah, Brother Methuselah tries not to react. And then he takes a page out of his little journal. It's perforated, so it tears nicely, because he's an accountant monk and he takes care of his goods. And he he, scrawls the last few numbers on the page, and he goes, "The numerology does not add up. These, if you count the numbers, the value of Saffron's name, it does not make sense that she would have died like this. I think that there is more. I think that she is not done. They are not done." And then he tosses the page into the fire.
Does the kite react in any ways? I mean,
I think
you can theoretically, like in the rules, it says that the
I
kite
could manifest more.
would be able to speak and give advice. And for the other characters, it wouldn't be they hear a voice.
Hmm.
What they would narrate is it is as if somebody has said or something like
Yeah. I think it's kind of a slightly more deadpan version of Saffron's voice. Kind of that hint of that maybe some of Johnny Seven melded. And it's just like, you don't need to give up. You'll figure something out. And maybe you see like the kite kind of like it's this weird fuzzy shell type thing, but you kind of think it's wagging its tail
Mm-hmm.
like a dog, but it's a weird kite thing.
It is a weird kite thing. The question is, how would did the others hear the voice like really consciously or more subconsciously? It's almost as if you're daydreaming or something, and you can't really say, oh, did I really hear that, or did I imagine Saffron speaking for the last time? But the information is definitely in your brain. You don't have to give up. There's more to this, and that is after Brother Methuselah said it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So I assume that you maybe spent the last night at the. Do you at the plantation, or would you move away from the decomposing body of Johnny Seven?
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit morbid to stay the night at this point.
Okay, so you move on, and do you? So obviously you can travel wherever you want. You can travel down the road, which means you travel further west to the next destination. You could travel to the place that you have already discovered, the halls of the Umber King, or you could travel back to the south-facing passage where you know at least that there's the Pew's house, or further back. I don't know.
Where could we get auto wagons?
I want to say you need to go to. Well, let's have a look at the map, and from the fallen Umber, you could travel to the Behemoth Shell. And the only thing that you know about it, so you all have like a physical copy of the map. I think Nida probably has it.
It's in the character keeper on the map tab next to PCs.
And so you know that the Behemoth shells is the place where the great folk lives, and they will have some kind of transport. They will have. I mean, you heard some rumors about them, but most of the rumors have to do with bone crafting. So they will have some kind of skeletal auto wagon.
Okay.
And I want to try to think, what was it? The south-facing passage. You didn't find any kind of settlement, I think. So I think that is the two. And maybe in the Pew's house there was, they might have wagons to transport their barrels, for example, but I don't think that they would, sell them.
Thoughts?
I mean, seems like what's it called? The Behemoth Shell's is the closest way station. Do you think we can get a paint job for the mech there? Because I think we're still sticking out like a sore thumb with that.
Well, at the moment, you definitely you stick out like a sore thumb. At the moment, you're more in satrap territory. So the UVG is a bit. It has this spheres of influence, and the sphere of influence of the Porcelain Princess is more to the east, and the satrap influence stops more or less at the moon-facing fort, and you also know that the satraps hate the Porcelain Princess. So, I mean, they would
Purely as a selling point that we stole it?
Could be, but they could also say, well, we confiscate this because it's obviously stolen. Good job, guys, but now it's ours.
Yeah, paint job.
There's something else I was thinking about that was more pragmatic. I mean, in the same line of thinking, but I'm blanking on it, so I'll jump in.
Okay.
What it is.
And I also have to remind you that after the week, you ate the snail eggs, obviously.
We lost the penguin, didn't we?
You lost the penguin, yeah. He stayed behind. You could have saved him as well, but nobody thought of this. So did you eat the whole week the snail eggs with the corks and screws in it? I mean, you spit out the screws, but
Be extra careful so you don't
chip it
hurt
to
yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
It was also unclear whether the penguin was producing the eggs or just delivering them to us. So saving the penguin, while it could be funny, might not have actually been helpful.
Yeah, you probably don't want to know where the eggs come from. But in any case, if you did eat them, I want to have a saving throw from everyone, just to see if the worm-infected eggs had some kind of effect.
For Constitution or?
No, it's actually a saving throw. It's ST on your character sheet.
Ah, I see.
That's this weird abbreviation. AV is attack value, I think.
Is it under with a D20?
This is with a D20 and it's equal or under.
Okay.
So I just checked the caravan tab and we do have 14 sacks of supplies.
I know. You don't have to eat them. I mean,
Hear a whisper in your head.
I described eating.
Good.
I've made my bed.
Okay, cool.
That is a failure on mine.
Same here.
Okay. And Nida, you could have said, as a survivor, if I have good food, I eat good food. If I have crap food, I eat crap food. But if I can choose. I choose the better
I
one.
was gone for like half the week exploring the ruins, so I
Yeah.
think I just ate supplies.
Okay, then you would to have you need to reduce 1 sec of the.
Which I just did.
Okay, cool. So you're traveling to the west, is what I hear, to the Behemoth Shell. All right, and
Oh,
so
there was something I was going to ask. Are we
Okay.
we're separated from the caravan now, right? Or is the caravan? Are we all rolling together?
yeah,
We
you're
are the
rolling.
yeah.
You are the caravan.
Oh, I thought we had lots more people or whatever.
There's the three of you. There is people in the background that we never see. That will all like Hamish will come back, and there's obviously the Ned, who is the leader of the caravan. But we never see these. Yeah, Central 88 is in the Violet City, but in crystal form. It's just you for the purpose of making decisions.
Okay, cool. So on we go.
On you go, and let's see. Now we have to have a look at the character sheet again, at the caravan, because you do have 12 spots on the coach, and you have 4 on the walker. I think the machine parts we can also remove, isn't it? I think that is what you used for the transfer.
The machine parts were used during the transfer.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we don't have them for repairing the porcelain walker, but we can get more next time we're in a city.
True. And do you have enough spots for all the stuff that you have?
The coach carries 12. We have 13 units of food. The porcelain walker carries 4. There's 2 synthahol, 1 saffron. So 1 sack of food, 1 saffron, 2 synthahol on the walker, 12 food on the coach. Adds up exactly.
Yeah. And so I assume that there's 1 space for the person, probably Vigo, who's driving the coach, and the porcelain walker would walk like automatically after the wagon, and the rest of you probably walk then.
Been walking the whole way so far.
Yeah. Okay, so you're slow is what I'm trying to find out.
It's like what, -1 day or something like that.
Yeah, it's just one day. Okay. So you move through these empty dry lands, and during the day it's really hot. It's still the 7th month, and sorry, the 6th month, the orange month, I think it's called. And after a couple of days, you can see that the landscape is rising again, and I think like 3 or 4 days traveling. Let's make a check on the misfortune table. I think it would be fun if Chris does it for Saffron. And it is, I always have to check this. Misfortune. Let's see. At some stage, you would think after 9 sessions or so, I know what you roll, but I don't. I think it's charisma. Yes. So you roll a d20, you add your charisma bonus, and you want to get a 14 or higher.
All right. That's a 5.
That
6 minus 1.
That is a 5.
I'm doing my part from beyond the grave.
I'm playing my part.
Got to keep you on your toes, since I don't have toes anymore.
Cool. So one night, I don't know. Do you actually have? Do you set watches for the night? I mean, you do have the. There's this wicker golem.
I think we do. I mean, I know Nida would sit up at least once or twice a week just to make sure nothing's going on.
Yeah, I think we probably ought to. You know, we've seen that there are skin changers hunting at least. So.
Mm-hmm. So let's see.
I'm not sure the kite has eyes, but it might attempt to keep some senses going.
Cool. So I roll a d4 on which watch this happens. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on Methuselah's watch. So somehow these creatures sneaked up on you, stole I think they stole the sack of saffron and dragged it away, and you can see them in the moonlight, like too far to chase them. And I would like you to know from you, how do you? So they do look like prairie dogs, but they must be sentient, like semi. What are they called? Semi-uplifted. Small cache pilfered by a tribe of greedy, uplifted prairie dogs. So how do you like? Do they wear clothes? Or like, how can you see that they are uplifted? That's for you, Josh.
Yeah, I think that they have some like scraps of clothing on. Not anything that is like hats. I think it's easy for a prairie dog to wear relative to other clothing.
I mean, they are nimble. It's even if you look at them and one of them looks back and you see like this sardonical smile on their snout.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know how that is possible with the paw, but it tips his. I think it's like a chitinous helmet cap that he's wearing, and he tips it as a mock salute, and then turns around and drags the sack of saffron away.
Is Methuselah the only one who notices this, or?
Yes, you're the one. I want to say that it's like the end of the watch. Like it's almost dawn, still
Okay.
night.
Well, I'm going to activate, because everyone else is asleep still, Methuselah is going to call upon his ghostly brotherhood.
Oh, jeez.
Get his saffron back.
Okay, let's see. Where is Brother Methuselah? Okay, so
so that is a 3 on a d4.
Yeah, so 3 of them arrive. So the way the misfortune table works is the sack of saffron is gone, but you are obviously a spiteful motherfucker.
Yes.
And so the ghosts will hunt them and try to kill them.
Or, you know, I mean, they stole our saffron. They might have stolen other things from other caravans.
Yeah, that is true.
Can retrieve.
And I think we can see, like you can hear the painful cries of the prairie dogs from behind the next hill. But if you want to check, when you check, the sack of saffron is gone indeed.
Alas, yeah, he probably would go to check once things had quieted down.
Yeah, and you can see that like four of the prairie dogs are dead with the like the expression of absolute horror in their face, and the three ghostly brothers they stand over their corpses and bow to you.
Yeah. Well, Methuselah. If there isn't, so if it's just the prairie dogs there, then I think he's gonna scoop up the prairie dogs back to the campsite and wake everyone up and go, "Hey, I found all these dead prairie dogs. You want a hearty breakfast?"
I mean, neither has to appreciate roadkill.
This is not the worst thing I've eaten.
And
It tastes strangely of saffron.
yeah, Methuselah goes, "Well, I saw one of the fuckers steal our bag of saffron off of the walker, but when I, went to find them, they were just all dead in their den. It was very strange. But
Maybe the saffron was poisoned.
good thing they got it and not us."
We could be eating poisoned meat right now. What have you done?
I mean, they're also wearing these funny hats. One has this like a red fez that is attached with a rubber band. Other kinds of hats. But if that does not, change your mind concerning the breakfast, I think we see in the morning the campfire and probably Brother Methuselah like turning around a skewer with skinned prairie dogs. Cool. And then the next thing is the encounters. You when you travel deeper into this slightly mountainous, I would say hilly landscape, you can see weird, like mountain-sized. Well, you wouldn't see that they are shells the first you see them. First you see them, they look like really steep hills with pine trees growing on them. But if you travel closer to them, you can actually see that they have this the cone shape almost, like not cone shape. What is it called? Like seashells. They have this spiral form. And they're obviously gigantic. Can I do a screen share? Never done that. Share screen. Screen sharing works best on a good computer. Well, share screen. Do you see anything?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Oh, share. I have to. And now?
Nope.
No.
Still not. location window. Yes. Do you see something?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Okay. So it's this gigantic shell with the pine trees growing on it, and as you can see, they're definitely like where whatever gigantic creature would live would enter their shell. There are some kind of there's some kind of village that you can enter. All right, so I think upon reaching the behemoth shell, this is a good maybe place to call it a day.